I've learned a few things in making this show. Number one, don't be afraid of food. And number two, don't be afraid of ingredients. And that's what inspired this episode, cooking with parts of the animal that are often discarded instead of used. So today we're going to be cooking with chicken gizzards and turkey necks, blood, bone marrow, beef tongue, and oxtails. The point of this episode is to show that even though these are often discarded parts of the animal, they can make delicious meals if used correctly. So let's get started. I do want to thank Porter Road for sending me a bunch of the ingredients that I'm going to be using today and for sponsoring this episode. Porter Road is an online butcher that delivers fresh craft meat to the lower 48 states here in the US. For this episode, they sent me their beef tongue, their bone marrow, and their fresh oxtails, but they have tons of amazing cuts to offer. I do a lot of cooking on this show and I like using high quality meat whenever I can, but the difficulty for me is that there aren't a lot of butchers near where I live. In fact, there are none, so I end up buying a lot of my meat online. And that's how I found Porter Road. I was looking to source meat and they came up in a search. One of the things that I was drawn to is that all of their animals are pasture raised and are held to the highest animal husbandry standards on the market. All of the animals are humanely raised here in the US without any hormones or antibiotics. Animals that are raised in better conditions mean that the meat is actually going to taste better as well. And another thing about Porter Road that's great, especially for this episode, is that they practice whole animal scene butchery, which reduces waste and gives you offerings of specialty cuts that might not be as common. If you're somebody who enjoys eating meat, Porter Road is like having your own specialty butcher at your fingertips. They have tons of interesting cuts that are definitely not as common and that you won't find in your everyday supermarket. And I do think that you can really taste the difference between humanely raised meat and meat that isn't. This channel is all about respecting cultures and respecting culinary traditions, and that respect also goes towards the foods that I'm cooking with. And for me, using cuts of meat that are humanely raised are part of the whole ethos of everything that I'm about. When I do cook meat, I want to make sure that I feel good about where it comes from, and Porter Road is a great starting point for that. I highly recommend you check out Porter Road. You can use the link in my description to get 15% off your order. And I am leaving links in the description as well to all the products that I used from them in today's episode. So if you are inspired to make any of the dishes that I've made myself, you can buy them directly from them with that 15% discount. Okay, so let's get started with a dish from the Philippines.
Hi Beryl, my name is Jeanelle Castro. I was born in the Philippines, but now I live in California. The dish I want to share is called Bulalo, which is a bone marrow soup from the Philippines. Bulalo broth looks light, but don't let that fool you.
Bones are not usually used for anything other than making stock, but marrow is a really delicious part of the interior of the bone and something that we should all be using more of, and we're going to be using it today.
By using bones with a bone marrow inside, it develops a slightly thicker soup with hearty flavor. It's from all the collagen and fat that's being drawn out.
You can see it so much more clearly right now. There's the bone, and this is the bone marrow right here. Ooh, it's soft.
In this soup, you'll typically see beef shank, which is meat that's wrapped around a very thick bone that has bone marrow stuffed inside. The highlight in this dish is the bone marrow, so you have to have that. It's served with a side of dipping sauce, which has patis, which is fish sauce, and calamansi, which is a citrus fruit. So we notice there's a lot of bulalo recipes out there that add vegetables in it, but my dad tells me there is no vegetables in bulalo. It's just the beef shank with bone marrow, period. The marrow itself has a very soft and delicate texture.
We're gonna put in a 1/4 cup of fish sauce. I am a huge fish sauce fan. I love the funkiness of it. Not everybody does. I'm curious, how do you feel about fish sauce? Rajat does not like fish sauce, so I don't know if he's gonna like this dish. He probably won't like this dish because of this alone. Jeanelle also recommended that I use the 3 Crabs brand, which is the brand that I happen to have, so that was a happy coincidence. But yeah, fish sauce going in. This is getting loud. I felt like I was talking louder and louder.
When cooked, it has a very rich and oily flavor, kind of like the fat part of meat, but even softer than that. Lots of modern restaurants will take bone marrow, slice it in half lengthwise, and then roast it. They'll serve it with maybe a side of lemon and charge a premium because this stuff is that good. The marrow bones add richness and creaminess to bulalo. That's how you get a lot of flavor into a soup dish like this with relatively simpler ingredients and a light broth color. I've been spoiled with the best soups from the Philippines that use relatively simpler ingredients, but use very slow and intentional cooking methods to draw out all that flavor that we otherwise wouldn't be able to taste. Nose to tail cooking is a huge part of Filipino cuisine. Personally, my favorite dishes include the parts that would normally be discarded, like the offal, snout, blood. I think Filipinos are very creative in finding ways to cook these parts and turning them into the most delicious dishes you've had. Nose to tail cooking is also super important because it allows us to stretch our resources even further, especially in areas of the Philippines where there's a good amount of the population that can't guarantee where their next meal comes from. And also, it's not just that these parts are edible, they are really super delicious.
The bottom of this plate is so hot, but I think that means that it's gonna be perfect for this cold, cold New York City day. Hot soup coming up. I'm gonna go with the broth. That's so good. That is so good. It's a clear broth, and so you kind of don't have big expectations for it, but Jeanelle's right. There is so much flavor in it. Shocking, totally shocking. And the fish sauce is not overpowering at all. I said that Rajat probably wouldn't like this because of the fish sauce, but I don't think he would even know that there is fish sauce in this. I'm gonna have some of this beef shank, which I can cut with my spoon because it's so soft from the pressure cooker. I mean, yeah, like that tastes great. All right, really though, it's time for the marrow. This is gonna require some surgery because I need to get the marrow out of the bone. This spoon is way too big. I just realized that. BRB, gonna go get a smaller spoon. Okay, tiny spoon. Now I can get the marrow out and have it with the rice. I've never had bone marrow like this. I've had it before when it's seared like French style where they cut the bone in half. Okay, now put some on the rice, get some of the sauce. That sauce is so nice. The calamansi is really citrusy. If you've never had calamansi, it's a small citrus fruit that has kind of an orange meets lime and lemon flavor to it. Heavier on the orange flavor though. It's really good. But if you don't have it, you could definitely use orange juice, I think. Yum, this marrow is freaking good. I love this dish so much. I'm gonna be honest. I was a little nervous because like I'm not the biggest beef eater, so I was like, oh, big piece of beef shank, bone marrow, where are we going? There's no vegetables in this, but we went somewhere good. We went to Flavor Town, as Guy Fieri would say, and this dish is like 10 out of 10. And it's so cozy and packed full of flavor. Wow. It's just shocking. It's shocking when you eat something that you don't really have expectations for. And to be honest, my expectations, I think that were that I might not love it because of what I said, but like eating my words. This is why you should try everything, people, because you just never know what is going to hit. And you might not like something in one preparation, but having it in another preparation, you will love it. I'm leaving a link to where you can buy the bone marrow. This is such an accessible recipe. Like, it's not using any crazy ingredients. You just need the bone marrow. I would highly recommend you guys try to make this at home, especially this winter when it's cold outside. So good, so good.
Hi, Beryl.
Hi everyone,
My name is Lucia.
and my name is Evania. We live in Idaho. The dish we want to share with you guys today is tacos de lengua.
Tacos de lengua are cubes of tender meat wrapped in a soft corn tortilla and topped with crunchy onions, aromatic cilantro, and refreshing lime juice.
It also feels like a big warm hug. It also kind of tastes like steak. It's also very savory.
Tacos de lengua, or tongue tacos, are made using the tongue of a cow and can be found just about anywhere in Mexico. These tacos were born of the poor eating what the rich didn't want.
So we're cooking with cow's tongue for this. Of all the cuts of meat that we're dealing with in today's episode, this makes me the most nervous because I have absolutely no experience with cow's tongue. I've never even eaten cow's tongue. I've never had a lengua taco in my life. So I'm definitely anxious and a little bit scared of this. We're gonna pressure cook it for a while, but I do have to like deal with it. So it's gonna be okay, and I think that it's really great that we're using a part of the animal that I've never ever used before, but also like, this is a little scary, and don't tell me it's not. Look at how big it is. This cow's tongue is bigger than my head. All right, let's manipulate this meat. Whoa, it feels like leather. Oh, the bottom feels weird. Oh, it feels weird to touch it. Ah! Oh my goodness. This is an unexpected sensation that I don't love. It's very real. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Don't do that.
Okay. Okay, I picked it up. I have to wash it now. Going against the grain this way feels like a cow licking you.
My dad, who immigrated from Chihuahua, Mexico to the United States, brought with him the tradition of using every part of the animal and not letting anything go to waste.
Lucia said that it's really important to use bay leaves. It's so important that she sent me bay leaves. So these are super fresh, and actually they smell really pungent. So I do, okay, like maybe Lucia's gonna make me a bay leaf believer. But yeah, we're gonna put some bay leaves in here.
In fact, I remember getting up really early in the morning when it was still dark outside, helping my dad mix up milk for the calves that we would feed every morning. The reason we raised calves was we raised our own beef. And once the cows were big enough, we would contact a family friend who was a butcher. Fortunately, because he was a family friend, anytime he butchered other animals, he would offer my dad the parts of animals that other clients didn't want. Because of this, and my dad's ability to make delicious recipes, we were able to eat really, really well for just pennies.
Whoa, whoa, cool. Wow. It's so soft and it smells really good. That was so cool. Like peeling it was really cool. Now cutting it, this is so interesting. I am not feeling squeamish anymore. I'm feeling really excited. This is great.
It smells so good.
It smells so good.
Nowadays, having tacos de lengua is a special treat. I grew up eating them really frequently because it was an inexpensive way for us to eat. But now it's much more expensive, and my husband gets very excited anytime I tell him we're having tacos de lengua for dinner. Tacos de lengua are a very, very simple recipe to make. Because the meat of the tongue is extremely tough, it needs a long time to cook. As it cooks on a low temperature for a long time, the collagen breaks down and turns it into this wonderfully tender and soft cubed meat, which is the way we eat it, or you can shred it. It's also very versatile. You can top tostadas with it or nachos, put it into a sandwich. Basically anything that you would use steak for or hamburger for, you can use the meat of the tongue of the cow for.
I can't believe that I made tongue tacos in my New York City apartment. Not something that I thought I would ever say. They look so good. Like, these look like real authentic tacos. They don't look like white people tacos. And I'm here for it. Putting a little bit of lime juice on. That is delicious. Whoa. I've never had a tongue taco before. I wasn't sure what it was gonna taste like. It has a mild beefy flavor. That's what I would say. It's very tender. The meat is very soft. Wow. Cooking with this ingredient really put me out of my comfort zone. I was nervous and, like, for lack of a better term, I was scared. Ooh, what's it gonna feel like? Should I put on gloves? Oh man. It was a tongue, and I've never worked with a tongue before, and it was a little scary. But actually working with it changed how I felt about the ingredient. So like by the end of it, cooking with the tongue, I wasn't like, oh my God, it's a tongue. I was like, okay, like, let's keep going. Let's peel off the membrane. Let's get it chopped up. Let's get it into my belly.
Okay, that was easy.
Yeah, I thought that part was gonna be like way harder. This is great. I think that's the thing about cooking with ingredients like this that are out of our comfort zone. They seem really scary because we don't know how to use them. But following the recipe, like, it made it really simple for me to create a delicious dish. And now I can say that I've cooked tongue, and I can say that I've eaten tongue, and I can proudly say that I really like it, and I totally understand the hype. Even in this episode, I cooked, in the Bulalo with other parts of the cow, so it makes sense to cook with the tongue as well, using as much as we can of an animal that has given itself to be food for us. Like, I don't know, oh my God, that made me emotional. I just think it's about respecting the animal, and by cooking as much as we can of it, that's respecting it. While we were cooking the tongue, the smell in the house was so good between the garlic and the onions and the beef stock. Like, the whole house had a beautiful aroma to it. And I think mixing a little bit of that broth in with the tongue after we cut it up is the right thing to do, because it just adds like a little bit more of that flavor. The flavor of the tongue itself, like I said, is very mild. It doesn't have a strong beef flavor like you might recognize the flavor of beef, but it also doesn't taste chewy or have like a stringy texture to it. It's very soft and very delicate, and it's something that totally surprised me. I think the lesson that I'm taking away from this recipe in particular is to not be scared of ingredients that you are not familiar with. And if you are interested in trying to make these yourself at home, I'm gonna leave a link to where you can buy the beef tongue. But like, honestly, I would give it a go. Don't be scared. Try something new. You might love it, you don't know. And it's a great way to expand your palate, which is something that I did today. I expanded my palate, which is, I can't really ask for anything more than that.
Hello, my name is Jane. I was born and raised in the Bay Area, California, but my parents are from the American South. I'd like to introduce you to Southern cornbread dressing with gizzards and turkey necks. Here in the US, stuffing is a bread-based filling that is seasoned with spices, herbs, aromatics, and chicken broth. It is literally stuffed into a turkey before it's baked and is served during the winter holidays, like Thanksgiving or Christmas.
So the part of the animal that we're using that's often overlooked are the chicken gizzards for this recipe. The chicken gizzards are part of the chicken's digestive system. So here's the chicken, and here are all of its innards. This right here, these are the gizzards. And they're often thrown away, but you can get them at your local butcher, which is what we did, and we're gonna be pressure cooking them for around 40 minutes.
The taste is like a savory bread pudding, with onions, bell pepper, and carrots instead of sugar, cinnamon, and raisins. In the American South, regular bread is replaced or combined with cornbread.
So we're also using a turkey neck, which is something that's often thrown away, but it does make really good stock. But in this case, we're gonna cook it, and I'm gonna try to cut it down because it's quite large and in charge. But there is a bone in the center of this, so we'll see how well I get through this bad boy.
African American Southerners often prefer cooking their cornbread stuffing separately from their turkey, which is why we call it dressing instead of stuffing.
Sorry. Oh God, this is just gonna get worse, isn't it?
Yoink. You're doing a great job.
All right. The internet's gonna think I'm crazy now.
When I was a kid, I hated large chunks of vegetables in my dressing. I would eat everything else and leave them behind. My mom decided to try grating the vegetables and aromatics instead, thinking I might be more likely to eat everything. Incidentally, the grated vegetables added more moisture to the dish, giving it a smoother consistency than a traditional Southern version. I remember the first time my mom made this for Thanksgiving, and not only did I clean my plate, but the whole family loved it. And it's a reminder of how close we are, because she made those changes just for me. When most people prepare their turkey for the holidays, they remove the neck, the heart, and the gizzards, also known collectively as the giblets. These are made into gravy or just thrown out. But my mom would buy extra turkey necks and chicken gizzards from her local grocery store, season and begin boiling them before prepping the rest of the turkey, and add them to the dressing as a treat. From our African ancestors to today, my culture has never believed in waste. My mom's additions are a callback to our heritage. Nose to tail cooking is worldwide. It's part of sustainable farming and reduces food waste. Indigenous cultures, as well as immigrants, forced or voluntary, can teach their countries a lot about sustainability if they're open to learning. This includes the US, whose soul food has its roots in Black culture. If you want to learn a little bit about African American Southern cooking and the real meaning of reduce, reuse, and recycle, as well as make a tasty dish, you should absolutely try this recipe. Enjoy.
This smells like really amped up stuffing from Thanksgiving turkey stuffing. It smells really good. Visually, it leaves a little bit to be desired, but with the other olfactory senses, it's up there. Yum. That is that's delicious. The sage powder is really good. You can taste it. I was so surprised to see sage powder in a recipe because I've never seen it before. I didn't even know that sage powder was a thing. Sage, huh? Wow, it smells so good. You can definitely taste it, so if you want to try making something like this at home, you have to get sage powder because it's definitely a big flavor in this dish. I love that the top of this is crunchy and then the bottom is soft. It's a nice dichotomy of texture. It's interesting because it's got like, oh wait, this is some turkey neck here and some gizzard. I got all of it right here. It just kind of tastes like chicken. I don't know, like it doesn't have an earthy flavor. It doesn't taste like anything special or different. It just tastes like chicken pieces in the dressing. This is a great dish for the nose to tail episode because when you buy a full turkey or you buy a full chicken, it's gonna come with the insides and usually we throw those away. Or maybe you're gonna make a stock with them, but like I feel like in general, we throw them away. And this is a really easy recipe and a really delicious recipe and a new way to cook them and use them so that it doesn't have to actually go to waste. And it can be something more than just stock. You can make something delicious like this cornbread dressing, and the cornbread is really good. I love the flavor of cornbread. I don't eat enough of it. So cool to be introduced to a dish that you've never heard of before, but that's like really big within a community. Never knew this dish existed, but now I have a new thing to do with gizzards and turkey necks. And you know, every year my mom over Thanksgiving, she thinks it's so funny, but she hides the turkey neck for me and finds a way for me to open it up thinking that it's a gift. This year was no different. I will show you a clip from what happened this year. They hid it in the Canada Dry box this year. They got me with the turkey neck again. You're sick. But now I can say, joke's on you, because I actually have a recipe for that turkey neck, so give it to me. This is really delicious. I would definitely recommend you give it a go, especially because if you're gonna buy a full chicken or a full turkey, you're gonna get the gizzards anyway, so you might as well use them and try something new.
Hi everyone, my name is Melanie and I'm from the beautiful state of Meghalaya in northeastern India. The dish I'd like to share with you today is called Jadoh Snam. In Khasi, Ja is rice, Da is meat, and Snam is blood. This is a dish that's beloved by the people of Meghalaya.
I've never cooked with rendered pork fat like this before. I've cooked with tallow, which is beef. but never rendered pork fat. So I'm curious about what flavor this is going to impart.
Our fragrant red rice is cooked in a blend of simple spices and blood, which is either pork or chicken.
For this recipe, we need a short grain rice, and arborio is a really good short grain rice. It's starchy, so you definitely want to wash it before you cook with it. So we're gonna wash it.
The blood coats the rice grains and gives it a rich, earthy flavor and a creamy texture. I like to compare it to how stock flavors the risotto. This dish is not very common across India, and it's quite hard to find outside of Meghalaya. This dish always reminds me of my grandmother. Some of my earliest memories are of getting bundled up and walking through the cold wind to the Sunday market with her. After 8 was done buying her veggies and meat for the week, she would take us to a cozy tea stall where we'd have a steaming plate of Jadoh Snam with fresh salad and veggies on the side.
This is not my first time cooking with blood. I've actually cooked with blood before when I made a blood pancake, and I'm gonna leave a link to that video in the description. I have never made a rice dish before with blood. I've got enough of it, so we're gonna mix it in. I don't think the blood has that much flavor to it, but I do think it's interesting how you can use it instead of just letting it go to waste. So I'm very interested in this recipe for that reason. Very careful. I don't wanna get blood everywhere. Steady now. Steady. So dark. Wow. There's something a little creepy about this. Oh my gosh, this is wild looking. So red.
Tip-to-tail cooking is a natural part of Khasi culture, and I think that it took growing older to realize how special it is to cook in a way that respects every part of the animal. I think people should try this dish because it's delicious. It's warm and it's comforting, and it's an authentic taste of Khasi culture that could open your mind to a world of food you've never tried before. Thank you!
I'm curious how this is going to taste because we cooked with the rendered pork fat and with the pork blood. Two ingredients that I obviously don't cook with very often. It has a very earthy smell, but not off-putting at all. It's kind of like a blood risotto. It's very creamy. Interesting. It's got like a bit of sweetness from the onions, but there's definitely that earthiness that you get from what I think is the rendered pork fat. I don't think it's coming from the blood. Well, maybe a little bit coming from the blood because there's that iron flavor that there's like, it's kind of like hovering in the background. Okay, so you can taste the blood. If you've ever had blood sausage, it tastes like that. It's not like, I think it's a scary flavor to describe to people, like what does blood taste like? But to me, it tastes earthy and it tastes kind of tinny at the same time. It has a very warming flavor to it as well. It's very cozy, which is interesting because, like, you know, it's blood rice, but it's cozy blood rice. In making this, the rice took on a lot of water, so more than just the 2 cups of water that I started with, I added probably another like cup and change of water while I was cooking it, and I'll reflect that in the recipe in case you're interested in trying to make this yourself at home one day. It was very surprising that this dish came from India because I don't have a lot of experience interacting with pork products in India, so knowing that there was a pork blood and pork fat rice dish that came from this country, like, that was very surprising for me to learn about. I think when we talk about cooking from nose to tail, we often don't think about blood because it's not a physical part of the body in the same way that like cooking with gizzards or cooking with tongue is. But a lot of cultures cook with blood all around the world, and like maybe without realizing it, you've probably come across a blood dish before because it's quite common in sausage making. I think looking at blood as an ingredient is really important because if you're going to think about using an animal from nose to tail, using blood is a part of that whole process. And you can do a lot of really interesting things with it. You don't just have to make sausage, you can make really beautiful rice dishes as well.
Hi, my name is T, and I live in New Jersey in the United States. My favorite winter recipe is a dish called Chinese oxtail soup, also known as oxtail borscht. It's a tomato-based soup with oxtail bones and assorted vegetables as well as ginger. The flavor is savory with slightly sweet and tart undertones. Everything is very tender and the meat flakes off the bone. The vegetables add a nice contrast.
For this, we're using oxtail. This is literally the tail of the cow, and it used to be a throwaway bit, but now it's seen more as a delicacy, so prices have definitely gone up on oxtail, but it's still a part that typically was thrown away and seen as like a non-delicious part of the animal to eat, but really if you know, it's really good. So I'm excited to use it for this soup. Now we're gonna boil them for an hour, and so I'm gonna prep all the vegetables while that boils.
The tartness of the tomato paste helps to cut any greasiness from the fat on the oxtail bone. This is a dish that leaves you feeling very warm and satisfied. So I used to have this dish a lot during long winter weekends or during the holidays. Anytime there was a large snowstorm, we usually would have this dish as well. So my family is from Shanghai, China, and this is a recipe that started from my mother's side of the family with my grandparents. They used to go to a lot of the Western style restaurants, and after trying this dish, they really loved it, and so they decided to adapt it to their own palates. There are a lot of different styles of this dish, and they predominantly decided to create a fusion. So for instance, the usage of oxtail bones is primarily a Shanghai style, whereas other styles will use beef chuck, beef bones, or beef shank. For our recipe, we also add in sugar, which helps to cut any of the sour taste. For myself personally, I like the way the oxtail meat soaks up all of the flavors of the soup and the way it just melts in my mouth.
It smells really cozy. Like there's like the smell of ginger and potatoes and onions, which I'm very intrigued by. I took some of the oxtail and pulled it off the bone because it wasn't as tender as I wanted it to be, but I didn't want to like keep on cooking it. I was getting anxious. The oxtail is actually very soft. Maybe it just wasn't spoon soft, which fair enough, you know? Ooh, yum. The oxtail is good. It's rich, flavorful, very hearty tasting. The flavor of oxtail does not taste necessarily like beef, even though it's beef. It has a richer flavor. There's more umami to it, and it's got like, when you cook it for a long time, there's a tenderness to it, and it's silky in a way. It's just very good. I don't know. Do you like my description words? It's just good, okay? Just trust me. If you think about it, there's not much that went into this flavor-wise, and so it's awesome how flavorful it really is. There was just white tomato paste and some sugar and salt. You're getting flavor from the vegetables, but these are not vegetables that have tons of flavor. Like cabbage is not the most flavorful of all the vegetables. Same goes for potatoes and carrots. They add flavor, but really a lot of the flavor is coming from the oxtail and I think from the tomato paste. Oxtails are really interesting to me because they have a really long history, at least in American cooking. They started off as trash, the bits that people didn't want, and they were discarded down to like the lowest levels of society. Yet today, they are sought after and they are not very cheap. I still think that it fits perfectly into this episode of using an animal from nose to tail, because literally this is the tail. So when we're talking about using all the parts and we're talking about the tail, oxtails are there. I'm gonna leave a link to the oxtails from Porter Road that you can get. They're really good and just come in like a bunch of different sizes, which is nice when you're cooking with oxtail. I made another dish using tails. I used pigtails actually, and that was like super, super interesting. I'll leave a link to that video in the description. Oxtails though, much more mainstream than pigtails. This is a great winter dish. Everything cooks in one pot, so it's really easy to make. The ingredients are accessible, and I think just in general, the babies are kicking me.
No way!
Calm down. They like the oxtail. They're like, give us more. Anyway, I think in general, this is just like a great wintry dish that's super comforting, and I'm so glad that it was submitted and was something that we got to try. I hope you enjoyed this episode and learned something new and have a new appreciation for cooking from nose to tail. I know for a fact that I do. I learned a lot, and I tried some things that were a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I'm glad that I did it. Don't forget that all the recipes are on my website, beryl.nyc, and links to where you can get some of the cuts of meat that I used from Porter Road are also in the description. Until I see you again, I'm leaving you with our food waste episode and our cabbage episode to help inspire you along your culinary journey. I will see you all next week.